Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. One Leeds is now sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball is a really classy app. You can get all of your Leeds United updates on this app. You can get all the transfer news, injury news, match day news, and it really is top quality. The most downloaded app regarding football on the site. So make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Hello, you lovely lot. I hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor, and we are back here with your review. Newcastle United 1, Leeds United 2 in a massive victory for the Whites on Toonland, as I like to call it. Massive win for the boys. I hope you all sort of appreciate that. On match day, I can't always get the content out because I'm working, but I'm always here. I'm always putting the effort in, genuinely. The research is done, the graphics are done, the music's done, and let's get on this journey and go through a really important win for the Whites. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Get your comments in the section below. We're going to turn this into a little bit of a Q&A. I've got some questions set up. If you're not following me on Twitter and Instagram, what are you doing? Because that's where I put out the questions. I literally get the questions from Twitter and Instagram, so make sure you go follow One Leeds FC on Instagram and Twitter. Let's get into some of your comments, guys. A lot of improvements on the comments. Now then, God, I hope you're doing fantastically well. How you doing, lad? Says it's Sam. So yeah, a lot of really good comments and positive comments as well, which is what we like to see. Right, okay. What you all here for? You're all here to natter with me and for me to go on about Leeds United last night. Now, oh goodness me. First half started really well, didn't we? I mean, I guess we should touch on the lineup initially. I mean, the lineup was for me really positive. I really liked what I saw there. Leeds United had changed it round. Marcelo Bielsa had made some massive calls, getting rid of Matthias Klick, which I felt was the right call, to be honest with you. I think he's been really poor in the last month, and a lot of people will turn round and quote everything about, oh, well, he's the chance creations, in the top 5 in the Premier League. And yeah, you're right, but you've got to compare him and Harrison, really. And as you guys know, I'm not Harrison's biggest fan. I think there's a lot of improvements Harrison can make in his game, but overall, Harrison continues to show week in, week out that he's progressing. Matthias looks absolutely knackered. He looks absolutely knackered, and for me, it was just Marcelo Bielsa leaving him out of the starting lineup. I think it was the right decision. And I think when he came on, he looks like he's hiding at the minute. And I'll say that because I've hidden myself on a football pitch when I've not wanted the ball, when I've not felt confident against the opposition. I thought he was hiding against Burnley in particular, and I called it out. And I think he was hiding last night when he came on. I don't think he looks confident. I don't know what's going on there. And Marcelo Bielsa's got to figure out what to do with Matthias Klick. Because at this moment in time, let's hope it's just a rest. But for the past month or so, there's been something which isn't quite right with Matthias Klick. And I do wonder what that is. But anyway, that was later on in the game. But that was the big change at the lineup. Matthias Klick being out of the lineup. Another huge change. Saw Diego Llorente come into the lineup for the Whites against Newcastle. I was against this, and I'm not going to come out and say that I was for it. I was against it. If you guys watch my preview before the game, you'll see that I thought that if we were going to go to a back 3, I wanted Stroy, Kaelin and Cooper there because there was consistency. There was momentum with those guys playing together. There was a cohesive nature, and this game was massive. a massive game for Newcastle and Leeds United. And I thought it was too much of a risk to start Diego Llorente, a Diego Llorente who's barely had any minutes for the first team, a Diego Llorente who's had 45 minutes for the 23s. And was a surprise when he went down after 9 minutes holding his hamstring? Certainly not. I mean, the caveat to that was apparently he'd come through murder ball in the week in the training sessions, but that it means nothing, because you cannot replicate a game situation, the movements you make, the balance on either side, and you cannot replicate those movements just by murder ball or by any sort of training session, and I think we saw that massively in the game yesterday. We saw him going down, and I just feel sorry for the guy. I feel really, really sorry for him. We've got this horrendous pandemic going on right now, as we know, COVID-19, which is is taking grip of society, isn't it? But overall, he's come over here. He's taken a massive risk. He's never played in England before. He's followed, he's followed. He's here with Bielsa. Bielsa's probably sold him the dream at Leeds United, as has Victor Orta. And I feel really sorry for him. He's here with his wife and his kid, and it seems like he's not getting the look of it at this moment in time. What I will say about Llorente is, in 2 seasons at Real Sociedad, he missed 23 games. 23 games. He's had 6 injuries since 2018. This will be the 7th now. It's a lot. I presume we knew about that when signing him. We all knew that the signing was completely out the blue. But by goodness, that is it's an awful injury record. It really is an awful injury record. And I hope for him, I hope for us, because he'll be on a very good contract. We spent a lot of money on him. He's our second highest spender. We spent the second highest amount on him in the summer. And we really... I'm just hoping we haven't dropped one with this, because this seems like it's a consistent thing now. He just looks a bit broken, and I feel for the lad. There's loads of your comments coming in, guys. Thank you so much. If you are new, please subscribe to this channel and please like the video as well. There's loads of comments coming in. I'm going to get to everything. Brilliant. 3 points, says Connor Crossley. But gets so annoyed that we put ourselves under the most needless pressure, particularly with the fullbacks last night, and no midfield dropping in to give them an out ball. Completely agree with that. Played well last night, says Jake Seddon. We're nice to see a stronger, if not close to our starting 11. Definitely. Let's have a look. A lot of people talking about Bamford as well. Like I say, guys, we're going to get onto Patrick Bamford in just a second, but to initially start the game, I thought there was a lot of attacking intent, and that's what you want from Leeds United. We came out and we made Newcastle look bang average because, guys, newsflash, Newcastle are bang average. Brucey ball was getting beaten by Bielsa ball at this moment in time. The first half was very good. Leeds creating 3 or 4 attacking intentions, which was great to see. Speed on the front foot, something that we've not seen in the past 3 or 4 games, really. Pragmatism, dynamism, Leeds bursting forward in numbers. And we're recovering the ball quickly as well. We looked a yard or 2 quicker than Newcastle United. And as I say, in that first half, Leeds were very impressive. We were very good in that first half. And I liked it. I liked what I was seeing. Now, we should, for me, we should have been 2 or 3 up in that first sort of 25, 30 minutes. And that had killed the game. The confidence was drained from Newcastle. We saw John Joe Shelby blasting the ball over. We saw him and Shah arguing in the first half as well. And you're thinking, goodness me, I turned around to my old man and I said, these lot are absolutely dreadful. My caveat to that is, guys, a lot of people were turning around and saying how shocking Leeds were last night in terms of performances. Look at the calibre of their squad. I do not care that they're out of form, all this sort of stuff. We know that. We know they have not won a game in 10. We know they haven't scored in 6, I think it is, or they've not scored in 6 hours. But Newcastle United have been a Premier League outfit for 4 or 5 years now. And my interview with Kendall pre-match and my interview with Lee Ryder of the Newcastle Chronicle on Leeds Live, we were all talking about this. But Newcastle's value, their squad, look at that bench. Look at that bench. Alan Saint-Maximin, Dwight Gale, Andy Carroll, a lot of you might laugh at, but stylistically, for teams like Leeds, Andy Carroll is perfect. But Brucey didn't bring him on because Brucey doesn't know what he's doing. Matty Longstaff, a really good youth product. Their bench was littered. Joe Linton, you might call him woeful. He's worth 40 million. 40 million. So this is what they've got on the bench. This is their artillery. This is their arsenal. This is what they've got to bring on to affect games. With all respect, yes, we have Tyler Roberts. Yes, we have Poveda, Hernandez. But really, our bench is probably the weakest in the entire league. Jamie Shackleton, no disrespect. Ollie Casey. All these players who are young lads who've not been exposed really to first-team football. So the fact that we're going up there with the favourites, and a lot of people, pundits included, who haven't watched Leeds or Newcastle, are expecting Leeds to go up there and absolutely muller them. I understand that from a point of we scored 5 past them last time, but it was always going to be a change. In the second half of the season, teams are going to change against Leeds United. And as I've said before, we've got to get used to that. Teams are going to defend more. They're going to press high on the wings. They're going to press 5 yards higher up the pitch, in my personal opinion, because athleticism, physical prowess and fitness is not a problem in the Premier League. These guys are elite, no matter what team it is, Fulham, West Brom, Newcastle, whatever. But it was a very, very interesting game because I did feel that Newcastle were pressing 5 yards higher in that game. Yes, we were able to expose them. Of course, we were on the front foot. But we saw in the second half, it changed a little bit. The momentum changed. And you saw that from 40 minutes onwards. And I thought Newcastle in the second half were the better team, the much better team. And did we get away with it? Were we fortunate? As Roy Tiger says here, happy with the 3 points. A lot of people talking about Alioski. I'm not sure why. I think it's a transfer. We've not seen anything from Phil Hay. I think he's counteracted that. So I'd ignore that, to be quite honest with you. But looking on the game, guys, Newcastle had 22 shots. We're going to get into your comments in a bit. We've got questions coming, so I'm going to be going for around 30, 40 minutes. So please stay tuned. Like the video if you would. 22 shots. For the first time in 15 years, Newcastle had 75% possession for 10 or more minutes. Now, with the calibre of player we've got on the pitch, the fact that our squad value isn't on the same realm as Newcastle, I accept that. What I don't accept is the fact that we were so dominant in that first half and there was a massive decrease from that team in the second half. Concentration, focus, passing, not on point. 66 pass completion rate last night, which isn't Leeds United. It's a different Leeds United. The nitty-gritty, determined side to get that victory like we saw against Burnley. We do see that sometimes with Leeds, but I felt last night we weren't digging in. It wasn't one of those performances. We couldn't do our basics. We couldn't do the basics correctly. And Newcastle were playing at a different tempo. And we gave Newcastle the best 30 minutes they've had all season, and that was annoying for me to see. We saw Alan Saint-Maximin come on and completely change the game. These are players who they can bring off the bench. I'm sorry, but, the expectations, isn't it, guys? I said it on the Red Men TV. I've said it numerous times before. When your expectations for a side who've been winning every single week, like Leeds United in the Championship, are still sky high in the Premier League, you're only going to be disappointed. You're only going to be disappointed because this level is elite. This is the best league in the world. And coming up against teams like Newcastle are a good team. They play 4-2-3-1. They have all the players fit. You've got Fraser, Almiron, Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson. That could be a top 10 side, top 12 side if they sort it out at the back, So I just think it's I think it's very easy to turn around and say, we should be going there and we should be battering them and all this sort of stuff. But they do have a lot of individual quality. And now we've done the double over Newcastle, which is really great to see. And I'm really happy about it. The biggest thing last night, guys, was getting those 3 points. The 3 points was absolutely pivotal for Leeds United last night. Newcastle had to get it. We had to get it. Overall, who was the better team? I think we'll all turn around and probably say Newcastle over the 90 minutes. But Leeds won the game. Leeds won the game. We're on 26 points in the Premier League, guys. 26 points. 14 ahead of Fulham. I think we're now 6 ahead of Newcastle. So we know, everybody who watches Leeds United know that Leicester's going to be a difficult game. We know that. There's a lot of people who'll probably take that off. We're losing to Leicester. I'll be honest with you, including myself. I have hope in football. Leicester, for me, is going to be a step too far. They're way too good. Everton, who knows? Everton have turned it around a little bit, but who knows with Leeds at this moment in time? Crystal Palace, okay, maybe we could get something there. But this one was a huge game to win, and we won the game. Which is who cares how well Newcastle played? Who cares how badly Leeds played in the second half? Are people going to look back at this at the end of the season and say, oh, well, Leeds stayed up, but they didn't deserve it against Newcastle? Who cares? It's 3 points, it's 3 points. And that's the big thing you've got to take out of this one for me. A lot of people, they are a different team with St. Maximan in the team. Completely agree. And when you've got an ace card like him who you can bring off the bench, who has more successful dribbles than Bernardo Silva and Adama Traore in one season last year, he's going to cause us problems. Now, what I will say, and what I think you guys also understand, and what we know with the spectrum of Leeds United, elite system, which has been proved at Chile, Marseille, Argentina, Newell's Old Boys, elite system. Not elite players all over the pitch for Leeds United, and we know that. When we get Rafinha class players all over the pitch, we will be a force to reckon with. They can talk about our defence now. That's fine. Last year, we got 13, 14 clean sheets with the Rafinha elite player, Ben White, at the back. You know, so when we get those caliber players littered in the midfield, littered at left back, littered as an experienced goalkeeper, as a centre back, when we do that, this system will absolutely work. It will absolutely work. The problem is we haven't got the tools to be playing with this system. We haven't got the tools to be building a penthouse. We're building just a shabby flat at this moment in time, and we're still doing extremely well. You know what I mean? We've got a shabby flat on Mayfair. That's what I'm talking. But we could have a penthouse on Mayfair. So there's a lot to look forward to with Leeds United, especially if we stay up this year. Sam, LUFC kind of speaks from the heart, and I love it. I just get on a rant, mate. I just love this club, and I love talking about it, and I love this platform. Steve Underwood says need 35 or 40 points, but guys, right now I'm gonna get your perspectives. I've gone through a lot of tweets, a lot of Instagrams, and a lot of YouTube comments, and what I'm gonna do is get your perspective on the game last night. So the first comment comes in from YouTube. Bamford has been poor recently and starting to look like the Bamford from last season. Do you think he will pick his form back up? Or do you think he was a bit lucky with how many goals he scored at the start of the season? Bearing in mind that this is the best ever season prior to his 16 goals at Middlesbrough. Would you look to bring in a backup striker in summer, seeing as though Bielsa so we won't make any transfers in January? Okay, loaded question once again. I can see loads of you in the comments talking about Patrick Bamford. I want you to answer that question. Patrick Bamford, what are your thoughts? 10 goals in 18, I think it is now. 3 goals in 11. Seen a little bit of a dip from old Paddy in the past, maybe 6-7 games. And I understand what he means. He cut a very frustrated figure last night, did Patrick of Bamfordshire. He cut a very frustrated figure. I didn't feel like he was making those movements. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos so far on the Newcastle game. A lot of people still thought he was making the movements. I thought there was a little bit of a lack of hunger from Patrick Bamford last night. We've seen Patrick Bamford when he's getting in front of his man, he's battling, and if not, he's falling on the floor, winning Leeds possession in dangerous areas, getting back, harrying. I felt Lascelles was bypassing him way too much last night. I felt when the ball got to him, he wasn't holding it up. And I swear to God, guys, this remote nearly went through my screen when they scored that first goal. I knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. But overall, he's got to do better. He's got to do better, Patrick Bamford. It was a lethargic pass to Ayling. Ayling absolutely bollocked him after it, by the way. You've got to do better. And that summed Bamford up in that game. For me, he gave that goal away. Patrick Bamford, he gave that goal away. And he was, you know, he got out of jail with that unbelievable finish from Jack Harrison. But that was Bamford's fault. It was a lethargic pass. He wasn't strong enough in holding the man off. And it was a limp pass. And he put Ayling in the absolute mud with the hospital ball. You've got to do better there. Okay, so that sort of summed it up for me. And it was reflected by a Roberts coming on, who Roberts, by the way, a shout out to you, who's been brilliant the last 2 games. I was the one who was saying, maybe should he get loaned out? Maybe should he get loaned out to Derby County? Maybe he should get loaned out to Huddersfield. He was absolutely superb last night. Absolutely superb last night. So, okay, we've got the next comment here. But overall, you know, when we're talking about Patrick Bamford, okay, I think he gets a little bit of credit. He needs credit for what he's done for Leeds United so far. He needs credit for that. He's been brilliant. 10 goals in 18. And it's not just his goals, it's everything else. He's got a couple of assists thrown in there. I think you can't criticise him too heavily, and I'll be really interested to hear what you guys say. Steve Jarrett, thank you so much for the comment and the donation. Anything, as I say, always goes straight back in to or the maybe a Photoshop membership, which I pay for every month myself, the StreamYard membership, which I pay for myself every month, the lighting, I have to hire some lights as well every month. So anything you guys put in goes straight back in. So thank you so much. Great content. Connor, box-to-box midfielder needed. Definitely. I am not ignoring Spanish comments as well. This is an absolutely beautifully worded comments from Adrian. I wish I could read it, mate. It's my ignorance. I apologise. I will study up on that if I can. Rafinha's left leg. Yeah, we'll touch on Rafinha. I just wanted to let you know about Patrick Bamford. Loved how Alioski made a mistake, subbed off. Bamford made a mistake, subbed off. Bielsa not taking fools lightly. Fools, I struggle with that. I struggle calling them fools, but definitely a big one from Patrick Bamford. Yeah, there is I'm seeing a lot of Alioski stuff. Credit, he was okay. Roberts made mistakes. But let's get into the next one. But that's interesting with Patrick Bamford that you guys have picked up on that. I thought he was poor last night. I think he can get better. I think we know that with Patrick Bamford. The next comment is from Ben Whitehead on YouTube. Does Ayling go back to centre-back next game, or do Struijk and Cooper play with two left footers? What a fantastic comment that is. And the reason I picked up on that, guys, is because Ben Whitehead makes a really good point there. Are we going to have to go back to Ayling and Cooper as a back two? We know it depends on the system. If you've got an opposition team playing two up front, Bielsa's going to go to a back three. I wanted a back three last night without Llorente. That's what I wanted. I thought Struijk was absolutely... He's just elite. He's elite, and he will be our centre-back. I want a day where we see Pascal and Robin Koch as the two centre-backs, and that's including when Llorente's free. Genuinely. Pascal Struijk is a brilliant player. He's an elite player, and he's just getting into the rhythm of it. We can see it. We can see it with Pascal Struijk. The two left footers, we saw the combination last night. The problem is with a left footer, when the ball gets to you and you're a left-footed player, you open your body up. Okay, so if you've got Liam Cooper with his left foot on the right-hand side of a centre-back partnership, it narrows his angle. He has to come back inside to then pass the ball. And that's what happens with two left footers. We had McQueen and Hunter back in the 70s, but the issue is with two left footers, you're not as open, you're not as expansive, and it doesn't give Meslier that much options from centre-back. For centre-back, should I say. You're always going to get Cooper cutting inside on his favourite left, which narrows the angle, narrows the play. So that's the problem with having two left footers. I would certainly, though, stick with the left footer. But I'm brutally honest with you guys. I'm being absolutely brutally honest with you. If you're to give me the option and the left footer, Bielsa's not going to play two left footers. If you're asking me Struijk or Cooper, I'm going Struijk. I'm going Struijk. Let me know in the comment section below. If he wants a right footer and a left footer, who are you choosing? Are you choosing Cooper or are you choosing Struijk? Because if he wants a right footer, Ayling's going to have to slot in there at centre back. We're going to have to go Dallas, Alioski, the thing that we've been doing for weeks. But if he's okay with two left-siders at centre back, no problem. But who would you choose? Because we might have to have a choice, in the Leicester game. Is it Cooper or is it Struijk? For me, it's Struijk. It really is. Wow. 50, I believe it's Norwegian. I think not. I'm sorry. My geography is normally quite good. Thank you so much, by the way. When centre-backs come running at us with the ball, they need to be brought down in their own half. Take a yellow card for them, please. I completely agree with you, Pizzuriel. Thank you for your support. The doctor stopped scratching your ear. Okay. Thanks for the comment. The money, sorry, I really appreciate that. But yeah, we'll get onto that comment in a little bit. We've got a question coming up with that as well. But overall, I think we've got Cooper as the captain. Dan Dobbs said Cooper. A lot of people are saying Pascal's very two-footed. Ball distribution. I just think if I'm giving that personal perspective, I think Struijk is better with the ball at his feet. I think he's calm, he's composed, and I think next to Ayling, we had 2 clean sheets, didn't we? I know there's a couple of misconceptions there, but Calvin was out at the side as well. I think if you have Calvin there, Struijk and Ayling, I like it. I'm a big fan of it. Guys, we're going to move on to the next question. As I say, I'm really enjoying the engagement here. Is Dallas the best option for us in midfield alongside Rodrigo in the short term? As soon as Klick came on and Dallas went to left back, we lost the midfield completely. Now, this is another really good talking point because We spoke about it at the start. We spoke about Klick, what he's been doing, his form. I thought he was hiding last night. If you've just joined, I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about Matthias Klick. I thought when he came on, he's hiding. I thought he was hiding from the ball. I thought the midfield options narrowed. I didn't think once again he was following his man. I think he was designated to. I think it was either Almiron or Shelby. I think it was Shelby because they went to a 4-4-2. Shelby was getting too much joy from the midfield, and Klick was on that man. And he's losing his man consistently. He's out of form. His confidence looks shot. I thought Dallas was all right. Let me know what you think. I've seen a lot of hate online for Dallas in central midfield. Don't get me wrong. Do I prefer him at left back? Of course I do. But if he's that industrial midfielder who's going to do all the work and then you let Rodrigo go, if you let Rodrigo go, that's that defensive option in midfield we've been missing. That's that person who Calvin's probably like, thank God, I've got someone who can actually defend with those 2 8s. So I thought Dallas was okay. I thought he was all right. I think when you we're going to get onto the midfield in a bit because you guys know what I'm like with the midfield. But I thought Dallas was okay. Matthew March, Dallas was great last night. Sean says Dallas played well. Dallas did a better job in midfield than Klick. Klick, good player, but he looked knackered as soon as he came on. Didn't track his man. Klick has played far too many games. Relax. I agree, Steve. We just need to think of an alternative for him there to get the best out of Rodrigo, because I think a supplementary midfielder next to Rodrigo will get the best out of him and will get the best out of Calvin. That's what it's such an important role. So we need to look at alternatives if Klick's not good. We know that he's not, that he's knackered. So what do you do about it? That's my question to you guys. If Klick's not in there, what do we do about it? We lost the midfield battle again. Klick came on. It's the system, not the personnel. I would disagree. I think the personnel are hindering the system, but I think the system is elite and needs better personnel. That's what I would say. And I think to move forward, 100%. Doctor, again, thank you. You're a talented host. P.S. Are you Chinese? I'm not Chinese. I am half Irish. So there you go. There's a little bit of a fact file for you. But that's my opinion on that one, guys. So get your comments in. Liberty, a big fan of the channel as well. Liberty Amber, thank you so much for your comment. Do you think that Koch will solve some defensive problems when he comes back from injury? Liberty, I'll give you a straight answer, 100%. I wasn't blown away. I wouldn't say I was, oh my God, Robin Koch, he was unbelievable. But he was developing. There was some games. Villa, what a performance. What a performance. And he needs the consistency. I think he had about 3 or 4 different centre-back partnerships as well in that period. He needs just a consistent man next to him, whether or not that's Ayling, whether or not that's Strike, whether or not that's Cooper, Llorente. God knows what's going to happen to Llorente. But if he gets that consistency, I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant. Germany don't start him for no reason at all. He's 22, 23. So yeah, Robin, 100%. Koch is great. A lot of God, I need to stop. Koch is brilliant. Great. It's just when you say it, isn't it? Koch is brilliant. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Out of context, one Leeds. I can see the Twitter account coming already. Why so many negative Leeds fans? Did we not get the 3 points, guys? That's it, isn't it? 3 points. That's exactly right, as Harati says. We're just discussing the little fine intricacies of Leeds United, but yes, overall, Strike and Koch. I love Koch, says Isaac. Louis says Koch is criminally underrated because of his shaky start he had. And I think we've realised now, haven't we, how difficult this level is. We know the elite level of the Premier League now. Listen, we've been out of it for 16 years. We've not been keeping our eye on it that much. But I tell you what, now we know, don't we? Now we know that 50 games in the Championship is nothing like 38 games in the Premier League. It's nothing like it with the physical prowess, with the athleticism of these players in this division. Give me 50 games in the Championship any day of the week, because Leeds are going to perform better in those games. You know, we really are a level up here, guys, and we all know that, don't we? A lot of you guys are talking about Amavi. It's not happening. Phil Hayes got rid of it. I know that we're not doing anything in January. Don't worry about Amavi. It's not happening. And for me, Amavi, with his attitude, doesn't fit in with what we're about, guys. Doesn't fit in with what we're about. So yeah, Sujal as well, big fan of the channel. We have to think practically 4 or 5 more wins in Premiership football next season. Come on, no more negativity. Okay, what have we got for the next one, guys? I've never had this many people watching. I'm humbled. Thank you so much. I'm just a kid sat in my room. Kid, 27. Come on, Connor. But if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, and get your comment in the section below, I'll try catch it. I promise. But thank you so much. Podcast Lads of Leeds, brilliant podcast. Really, really good. Are we going to have our mental health by the end of the season? Must have nerves and a heart of steel. Guys, this is why I don't do watch-alongs anymore. Listen, I work, but I can't do watch-alongs. You can't watch me on a watch-along. You can't do it. This poor wardrobe right here, this poor chair, it's been through the absolute mill in these past 5 weeks. Last night was horrendous. My dad and my brother can't watch it with me. I feel sorry for them. I genuinely do. I turn around and say, look, I'm going to be calm. Don't worry. Well, can you, Connor? Because it's getting a bit annoying now. The game starts and I can't do it. This team puts me through the absolute mire. And that's not because I don't think they're absolutely world class and they're brilliant and what we're doing is excellent. But I'm just anxiety ridden from moment one. So yes, in answer to your question. Why do you think Bielsa sticks with the man-to-man system when it can be so easily exploited in this league? And here we go, midfield. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm going to say something to Newcastle fans as well. You're talking about Shah. We're talking about Shah, whatever it is, Shah. Let's call him Shah for banter. The guy with the ponytail who sort of seemed to be starting on everyone last night. Okay. A lot of you guys and a lot of Newcastle fans, which I've seen this morning. Let me just have a little bit of tea. Shah, what an amazing player he was. Man of the match last night. Shah was unbelievable. Lascelles was brilliant at bringing the ball out. Don't get too excited, Newcastle fans, because this happens to Leeds United every single game. This is not negativity. It's how we play. When we get these elite players in the system who are press resistant and better at tackling and more physical and more adaptive to this level, which we are at right now, this will not be a problem. The problem is right now we have players who are probably some of the worst in the Premier League. I'm sorry, but it's true in terms of caliber and everything else and quality, are trying to keep up this man marking system and are doing extremely well. 12th in the division. But last night we got lucky. Last night we got extremely lucky. Fabian Schär, we made him look like Beckenbauer. It was Maldini on steroids, him coming out from the back, him building from that defensive phase into the midfield phase, into that attacking phase. And this has happened, Newcastle fans, for Webster, Zuma, Ogbonna, Cody, Diaz, and now Schär. So don't get too excited because Schär ain't going to put in a performance like that. It's because our midfield and our man marking system doesn't enable us to track this thing. And I think when I'm watching this man marking system, the bugbearer for me is, okay, you can follow your man. I understand that. But when you've got John Joe Shelby peering out to the left, you've got, an Isaac Hayden or whatever who's marauded forward, who's peering out to the left to create space for Schär. And because they know that the midfielders are going to follow them outside, for me, there's got to be I understand that they do it in the Bielsa system, but there's got to be a course of action. Use your intelligence, your football IQ. If someone's marauding through the middle, just leave Shelby there. He's causing no problems. He's moving into space because he wants to create that space. Leave Shelby for the time being and get into that midfield. Put a tackle in. And that is the way forward. We can be diligent with this man marking system. But what's the point in the man marking system if you can't adapt through a game? Because the midfield's always going to be open. For me, there has to be accountability right there. We saw it with Phillips in the second half when I think it was Schär coming through the middle. He just left Almiron, did Phillips, and came to the middle and made that tackle. And it was brilliant because Almiron wasn't doing anything. He was on the left, doing nothing in the game. Calvin took it by himself and came into the middle and made the tackle. And that was what we needed. And the man marking system's okay, it's brilliant. It works for us. But sometimes we need to just adapt and not think we have to stay in those rigid positions all the time. Adapt to the game, Leeds, I think, anyway. I'd be really interested to say what you guys have to say about that. Absolutely right, Connor. And that's what I like about Pascal. He's not scared to stick a tackle in. I'd take Ronaldo Vieira back, definitely. A lot of people talking about that. A lot of people talking about transfers in the summer. We have a real issue with letting centre-halves run through our team. And this is the problem. And this is what I mean, just adapting through the game. Leave your man if you're in a man-marking system. If that man is not having an impact on the game, if he's not having an impact, he's using his brain to drag you out there. And then the space. Do you know what I mean? That's where we've got to adapt a little bit. I'm going to say adapt about 500 times, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, Shah, we made Shah look like Beckenbauer. Connor, your tea looks anemic, does it? Does it? Tea? It's a bit milky, isn't it? But yeah, so as I said, we were letting them come literally maraud through our midfield, and that does need to be adapted, and that will be adapted with better players. We'll get better players in year 2, year 3, year 4, and we will get much better in that system. So yeah, so it wasn't too bad. Let's hear what some other people are saying. I think we've got James here now with the next question. A bit analytical for you. What are you trying to say, James? You're trying to say I can't analyse? Is that what you're trying to say, James? A bit analytical for you, but how does the team get affected when Harrison plays on the right and Rafinha on the left and vice versa? Now, once again, a bit of a loaded question because we haven't seen that much of Rafinha on that left-hand side, but we saw last night when he's back in his regular position, we see so much from him. You know, he's a brilliant player. Every player who's on the left-hand side wants to be on the right-hand side so they can cut in the score. They can do the Iron Robin. But Rafinha's a different class at what he does. And he carried the team last night. I thought there was some good performances, but I thought Rafinha carried the side last night. I think his consistency, his level of composure in front of goal. You know, for that first goal, there is about, 6 of our players, including Koch, probably Rodrigo, probably even Harrison, who were absolutely smacking that ball over the bar, but then Harrison will score an elite goal later on. But Rafinha's a joke, an absolute joke. And I think when he's in his strongest position, to answer your question, which is on the right cutting inside, that's when Leeds look the most dangerous because he's able to, get the ball and attack more venomously than Harrison does on that side for me. And he's just an absolute nightmare. They doubled up on him for a phase in the first half, and I think that's what more teams are going to start to do with Rafinha because he dictates games so much when he's on the ball. When he's out the game, Leeds aren't in the game. It's as simple as that. When Rafinha's out the game, Leeds aren't in it. So yeah, I thought he was absolutely wonderful last night. A lot of people saying he's genuinely world class. Rafinha's goals are genuinely, Rafinha has to be on the right. I think he's unbelievable. Now, Tesco, prefer Asler, to be honest. Could you see a big club coming in to buy Raf in the summer? Yeah. He's got a pattern, hasn't he, of being at sides for a season, but I can see some big sides coming in for him. And this is it. This is why we've got to retain and build players like, Robin Koch, retain and build with players like Rafinha, players like Rodrigo. We've got to keep building and building and building. And I think Rafinha, on his strongest side, to answer your question, is levels above anything else we have. Does Tyler Roberts now offer an exciting option off the bench? Played very well yesterday and against Brighton. Get your comments in the section below, guys. What did you think to Tyler last night? As I said, we've already spoken about Patrick Bamford, but I thought Tyler was excellent. I thought he came on, he was more direct. Rafinha played a lovely little ball into him and he missed it. And I thought if you put that away, any contact on that is going in the back of the net. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant last night. I thought he was very good, very direct. Gave us an element of control that we see from Pablo Hernandez in terms of getting the ball, turning, running at the defence, which Rafinha, Rodrigo were the only ones who were doing that last night, turning, running at the defence. Tyler does that, close control. And I think there's been a step up in attitude with Tyler. And there's a lot of times where he's came on previously in the Championship and even in the Premier League where maybe he hasn't gone and asked for the ball and wanted the ball and not hidden. And this is what I was talking about with Koch. I think there's a big discussion now. Would you start Tyler Roberts? And would you leave Matthias Koch on the bench? Who knows? But that's a discussion right now with Matthias Koch's form and Tyler Roberts' form when he's been coming on. Because clearly Pablo's secondary to Tyler Roberts now in Bielsa's mind, which is really, really interesting. So, Pablo doesn't get as much game time as Tyler Roberts. And Tyler Roberts is starting to affect games in terms of getting the ball when Leeds are struggling to get forward, getting a composed nature in the midfield and bringing other players into play. There was a period where Rafinha just wasn't in it in that second half. Roberts came on. Rafinha started getting more of the ball. Rodrigo was pushing forward. They didn't know what was going on because Rodrigo would go up top. Then Roberts would go up top. They'd interchange. They had a really nice little relationship going. And I thought it worked really well. I thought Roberts was absolutely superb last night. I was thinking Roberts instead of Bamford. A lot of people I've seen that. Tyler looked good. I'd still like to play 2 up front. Paddy's struggling on their own. And I think this is what we're seeing a little bit with Paddy. I've said it on here before. Even in the games that we've won, we're seeing him been more isolated. And I think with Roberts, you're naturally not going to get that centre-forward instinct with Roberts, but he'll drop back, he'll get hold of the ball, and then he'll run at the centre-backs. And that's very rare in football, getting a midfielder who loves to run at the centre-backs. And that is why Tyler Roberts, he is a class player. We all know he's a class player, but we need to see it more often for me. Bamford is staying in the squad. Connor, are you watching Burnley Villa tonight? My eyes are going to be on Fulham Brighton tonight, mate. Okay, let's go to the next question, shall we? And I believe this is the last one, guys, so get a couple more comments in if you want. I'll read them out to the end. Is Bielsa our greatest manager ever? Taking a poor championship team, getting promoted, and now we're looking like a mid-table Premier League team with basically 2 additions, Rafa and Rodrigo. Couldn't say it better myself. And this is why at the start, if you have just joined, I was banging on the drum about Newcastle's elite bench. Newcastle's bench, which sees, 3 promotions for Dwight Gale's. Dwight Gale getting top scorer in the Championship twice, getting, I think, 25 goals each time. We thought Bamford had a great season in the Premier League, in the Championship, getting 16 goals. Gale's got 25 goals twice for Newcastle and West Brom. He's on the bench. He doesn't even feature. You've got Andy Carroll, who's been promoted with Newcastle, gives them a different dimension. You might call him rubbish, but he gives them that different dimension, that Route 1 football, which probably would have caused Leeds problems last night. Alan St-Maximin on the bench. The ability to have, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, and St-Maximin as a front 3 with Almiron in behind. They've got elite players. They shouldn't be in the position they're in. And this is why us going there, us scoring 7 goals past them in 2 games, and us getting 2 victories over Newcastle in quick succession is so impressive. Where we are now, you look at our big signing was taken off last night. We had another kid come in Strike who was absolutely brilliant. Never fits the media's agenda to talk about that. That's now 12 different centre-back combinations, by the way, just to add to the list. It never fits the media's perspective to talk about that, especially when they're going on about how crap Leeds are at the back. But you've got to factor that in. Liverpool talk about, they're still mourning over Van Dijk being injured. We've had 11 different centre-back combinations. We have a 21-year-old kid come in who's absolutely elite. He's going to be one of the best, in my personal opinion. But Marcelo Bielsa is doing an unbelievable. We shouldn't be competing with Newcastle, with that team. In 2 years' time, I'm going to be criticising it because we should be competing with Newcastle because we'll have invested, we'll have got elite players in through the squad, but we're a depleted team, completely depleted, ravaged with injuries, and we're still doing what other teams can't do away at Newcastle, away at Everton, away at Villa, at home to City, at home to Arsenal. He's doing an incredible job. 26 points with this calibre of team is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And I will harp on that drum until that drum bursts. I really will. And that's why we've got to really get involved, support the team. I'll come on here and criticise them if Matty's Click for me hasn't put in 100%. And I'm not scapegoating him. I'm using him as an example. Just use Tyler Roberts. I'll come on and say you can do more because they can do more. But what we all need to realise is there's a glass ceiling. These lads are 9 out of 10 every single week. And if they're 9 out of 10, they might only get a draw. But if they're 9 out of 10, they might get a win as well. You've got Premier League players at this level who can play 4, 5, 6 out of 10 and get wins. And they can be mid-table players. And this is where we are right now. We, in terms of depth, have the weakest squad in this division. In terms of transfer value, we have the weakest squad in this division. In terms of players purchased, we have the weakest squad in this division. That all needs to be compartmentalized when you look at how well Leeds United are doing this year, how well we are doing. Are we going to go to Leicester and win? In my opinion, no. We're not going to. But am I going to have an absolute meltdown about it? No, because I know the players are going to be putting in, normally are going to be putting in 100% effort and they're at the top of their ability level. They can't perform any higher, And that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at as a club, and that's what needs to be taken into account for me, guys. So honestly, don't get too down about it because we're going to stay up. Sorry, I've just seen I've been waffling on. Tejaswi with the best name on the stream. We've got the best name in the stream. If you've got a better name, put it in. What will Bielsa for next season or next? Will he stay? What will motivate him to stay? He will stay, mate, 100%. I think the 49ers being there, the fact that he's got a project, the fact that Rafinha has pretty much signed on the dotted line because of Bielsa. I think you've had Koch sign on the dotted line because of Bielsa. This is a massive thing. And I think Bielsa, we know how loyal he is. We know how loved he is in Leeds. And I think he's been accepted in Leeds. I really do. Massively. Of course he's been accepted in Leeds, but as I said on the previous stream, more than anywhere before, apart from Newell's Old Boys. So he'll know that. We're his longest serving club. Real talk, Connor. I appreciate that, mate. Great analysis. Look forward to these. Even my missus, Liverpool fan, does. Oh, well, hello to Sujal's missus. But honestly, you've just got to, we've got to contextualize where we are. And I know we criticize, I can see it in the comments. I criticize, I sit here moaning to my dad and my brother, but where we are is unbelievable. And what we're doing is unbelievable. And we can get 3 or 4 wins this year. We've got 19 games left. Are we going to get 3 or 4 wins? I think so. I think so. It's going to be difficult. We might, there might be some times where we lose to Fulham, but then we'll go back and we might beat Everton. It's just critical not to go into meltdown, because the number one, guys, it's not Champions League, it's not Europa League, it's staying in this division. Then we build, then we turn into the Leeds United of old, or the Leeds United of something that we've not seen before. Here's a little stat for you, just to make you happy. In the 2003 season, when Leeds United went down with a whimper, it has to be said, Leeds United won 8 games, but you look at the players we had, look at that team. It might have been ripped apart, but look at that team. Still with the likes of Viduka in there, Don Matteo, etc. In that team, they got 8 wins in that entire season. Leeds matched that last night. No, I'm saying this is where we're at. So stats, that's what I'm talking about, says Louis. Stats, that's what we can provide you with. But guys, brilliant win last night. Massive win. Leeds United in 12th. Enjoy yourself. Have a cup of whatever this is, tea, but it doesn't look like tea really, does it? Have a cup of whatever. Have a beer. Have a soda, as the Americans say. Have a water, whatever. Chill out. Watch your games. We've got a big fixture list tonight. I'm going to be keeping a particular eye on Fulham versus Brighton. I've been going on for 50 minutes now. I don't want to bore you any longer. If you could like the video. Oh, God, I need another drink. If you could like, it's what happens when you just keep talking. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you are new, please subscribe to the channel. It means everything to me. What all the YouTubers say, we're on the road to 12,000. That's what I'll say. We're on the road to 12,000. So if you won't mind hitting that subscribe button, hit the like button, because I don't understand if you're liking the video. Normally I'll chop and change, but if I do know you're liking the video, I'll stick with what I'm doing. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. Keep safe in this horrible pandemic. And I will see you in a bit. Cheers.